Welcome everyone, welcome to our channel. Today we're going to be reviewing Alice Oseman's Heartstopper. But before we begin, I do want to give a brief background of the author and maybe some of the other works that she's done, and then we'll dive into the book. So Alice Oseman is a British author. She's best known now for her illustrated work, but she also has written other books. They're all based in kind of the YA category. One of her most well-known books is called Solitaire, and I believe it's like a trilogy. And from that trilogy is where we meet Nick and Charlie, but they were seen as side characters. When she thought about doing an illustrative work, she thought of taking Nick and Charlie's story and then building it out from there. Another thing too that's amazing is that not only did this book become very popular with Booktube, but now it has a series on Netflix. I believe they're on series 3. So for today, we're just covering the first volume. There is a total of 5 out right now. I believe the author is working on the 6th and final installment of the series. The first character that we meet is Charlie. He is in part of an all-boys school. The whole school system is all based in London. So he's starting his first term. You can tell he suffers from a lot of anxiety. You find out as you're reading the story, the reason why he has such anxiety and low self-esteem is because Charlie was bullied during his first year. Somehow it got out through the school that Charlie was gay, and he was forced to come forward and get out. It wasn't that he had the option to come forward himself. He was kind of like bullied into coming out. And then we lead into Charlie goes into school and has a homeroom, and that's when we get our first interaction to see Nick. And then from there, a relationship blooms because Nick kind of helps him. He notices Charlie is kind of like standoffish and shy, and the first volume kind of focuses on a discovery between themselves, whether it's a relationship or their own confidence, and working through their own roadblocks to figure out, well, what's happening? Do we love each other? Are we in love? Is this love? Which is kind of like the whole introspective work that happens in the first volume. So what are your takeaways?
I think I like the art better than the story. I thought the illustration and the panels looked really nice. Very expressive and pretty simple at the same time. It's just a little, it's a superficial story to me, but I like that the characters are kind and like the main characters, and you know, it's a good example to me of normal healthy people kind of working out their problems and dealing with adversity, especially in a high school, grade school environment. Mm-hmm. And it shows some symbolic acts of courage and strength and anxiety, and I mean overall I think it's pretty good. I mean, to me, if people like graphic novels, then mm-hmm. It seems like a pretty fun, easy one, and I think it is good to have LGBTQ representation in stories of all kind. I've just seen a lot of stories about high school through movies and TV shows and books. So it's not like mind-blowing to me or anything like that. But overall, I liked it.
Yeah, like Mike said, it is like a wholesome story, and I think what makes it nice is that it's not like, for example, it's not like HBO Euphoria where there's drugs, high drama, high stakes, and teens finding out themselves. It's not drastic. Like, this is like Hallmark-y, but not in the good sense where it's not like you don't have all this side stuff. It's like it's sweet and wholesome. And I think growing up, we don't see a lot of books centric around, say, whether it be 2 female characters or 2 male characters love. Like, we're used to like High School Musical, basketball player, cheerleader, like, so this was like nice to see that kind of representation. Whereas not just a male female character. Like, these are 2 male characters who are finding love and trying to find themselves off, and they're the focal point, and it's actually like a truer representation without like a seedy underbelly to it.
I mean, I do think it's important for kids to see stories where you see like people in a group that normally you wouldn't expect to be tolerant, mm-hmm. to embrace somebody that's different from them. Mm-hmm. Like in Heartstoppers, Nick is kind of a jockey rugby player. And as he gets into a relationship with Charlie, who's openly gay, he says, you're really quick, you're really fast, you should join the rugby team. And you could tell that Charlie at first is thinking, I don't know if that's a good idea, especially based off his experience of being bullied for being gay when he was before he came out. And eventually, over time, they embrace him. And it's good to show that kind of interaction where even if it doesn't seem like these people are going to embrace you, if you go and you show up and you practice and you try your best, that you will be embraced. It's not about who you are. It's really about, doing that. And one of my problems with these kind of stories when it's not for children is that when it's done in books for a more mature audience, is that we know that that's not really how it works in the real world. A lot of people are embraced, but then there are some that just aren't. But I do think it's nice, mainly because when you have characters with these righteous intentions, like they want to belong to something, or they want to find like a real love or real support from people around them when they're a little different. This is the way to execute it.
Yeah.
For these kind of stories, if it's going to be very surface level and very like a very basic story, then you need kind people to face a little adversity, but to go through it with kindness and understanding, instead of just like having everyone say they want these really great things, but then they do the exact opposite to achieve them, So I like that. The people that are dicks get cast away and pushed aside, and the good people get closer, the kind people get closer together.
Yeah.
And that happens with all the characters in this, which to me is something that shows that this story was put together pretty well.
Yeah, it was thoughtful in trying. And like as Mike said, like what's great to see is that for Charlie, you learn that even though Charlie was bullied, he had Tao, who's one of his best friends, and then his sister Victoria, who like are able to support him. And then for Nick's, it's also his mom who was there to support him as he starts his own journey. So it's nice to see that they have these strong support systems and to help them through.
Yeah, I agree. Even Nick, who's confused about his sexuality, has a support system. And I thought it was okay.
So how many Kisas would you give it?
I'm gonna give it 3.5. I mean, to me, I feel like I could pick hundreds of stories, that are just like it, do the same thing. But so I'm not, it doesn't get like bonus points for me because it involves gay characters or bi characters, but it was definitely, it's fine. It's good. 3.5.
I give it 5 stars because I think it's cute and wholesome. And then again, I'm slightly biased because I love reading graphic novels or manga. So I always tend to rate those higher. But if you're like, well, I don't want to read a young adult graphic novel, but you want to read something that's like representative of a group, I have a couple recommendations right here. So I Hear the Sunspot Volume 1 and 2. This is, I think there's, you can read the first 2 volumes and there's spin-off volumes. And this is done by Yuki Fumino. This deals with 2 college students. And then we have the Pet Detective Agency, which it's kind of goofy, but it's sweet and funny. And this is done by Noji. And then we have another romance called Day Off. It's kind of like a romance dealing with power dynamics of a boss and like a co-worker. But it's sweet and funny. And this is by Daily Greens. If you want to read something that deals with content that you're interested in, I would recommend these. And they're a little bit older if you don't want to read something based in high school.
Okay.
So, well, that's it for now. We post the video the first Sunday of for each month. So keep a lookout. Otherwise, like, subscribe, share our video. Also, let us know down below what are some other romance or graphic novel books that you read that you think we should maybe check out. So leave a comment down there. Otherwise, thank you for stopping by.
Thank you. See ya.